Hello, how you doing? My name is Tanner McCracken. I am the chairman of the Appropriations Committee for the Student Association Senate, and welcome to applying for appropriations funding. So this video is to explain exactly which form you should be using when applying for appropriations funding. So the reason for this is this year, as chair, I have implemented 3 different forms instead of one form like it has been for many, many years before this year. And it just didn't make sense because the 3 lines apply for, 3 different types of groups. So this year we're doing 3 forms. It's going to be way simpler, but this is just to explain which one applies to you. So welcome. I'm excited that you're here for additional funding, and let's get into it. So first of all, just the basics of what is the Appropriations Committee for if you're a new e-board or you've never been to this side of the process before. We are a committee within the Student Association Senate, and we're made up of elected senators. So, those people that come knocking on your door asking for your vote, that's us. So a couple of us serve on this committee. It could be up to 10, but this year we got around 5. And we review your request. So we have the power to approve it, amend it, or deny it. So the request comes to me as the chair, and if I approve it as a good form, that's who it's going to. So it says this in the bylaws that we're all bound to. It's to the committee is to consider all student group monetary requests during the Student Association fiscal year. So that's the Appropriations Committee. And we got full authority over the 3 appropriations lines in the budget. So what are the 3 lines? It's a good question. Here they are. We got supplemental funding, the new and unfunded budget funding, and the SA sponsorship funding. So which one applies to you? Let's get into it. So the first line we'll talk about is the most widely used and largest line, the supplemental funding line. So this funding is for student groups that already have an allocated budget for the current fiscal year. So if you already have an SA budget and you are able to hold events, you got the whole thing, you still can come for extra funding through the Appropriations Committee. So just to put it into very simple descriptive terms, to the right here, if you could see my mouse, is this bar graph here, and the light green is your current budget. That's what was allocated by the Board of Finance and the SA Senate for this year, and you can always come for more. So that's what it looks like. The additional funding shouldn't look more than your current budget. It should be reasonable, but that you can come for more during the year. So what are some reasons you may come? I got it on the left side here. So any unexpected additional costs. So that could be, when you applied for your budget coming up to this year, we didn't know the coronavirus pandemic was going to be this widespread, this destructive. So an example could be, I want to have an in-person event, but we're going to fund masks. Not a problem. You would come to the committee, submit it, let's say $500 worth of masks, making sure that everyone has one no matter what. That's supplemental funding. You didn't budget for masks, but this is what was an unexpected cost that you would need. Here's another example. A vendor for a venue says, oh yeah, we got you booked for this event. Here you go. You're all good. And then they just pull out at one point and you're like, oh, we have to find a new venue and the venue costs more than what you budgeted for. You come to the Appropriations Committee. Another example is an expansion of a planned or already budgeted event. Another example would be, let's say we got a conference. We're going to Washington, D.C., and you budgeted for only e-board members, but you want to expand it and include more regular members, let's say 10 more, 20 more. You're going to need more funding, whether that be for hotel rooms, transportation, whether you're taking like an extra bus or plane tickets. You're going to need more funding for that. You come to us. Also, new event ideas. Think about it. You have a e-board from the previous year requesting a budget for you now. So you're going to have new ideas, and sometimes that's going to cost more money, but that's not a problem. Come to us. Also, if your funding for certain initiatives was denied by either the Board of Finance during the budget season process or by the Constituent Relations Committee during the appeals process, you can also come in and try again to request it to the supplemental funding line. But yeah, that makes sense. Student group, you already have a budget. This is the line you go to. But what if you're a new student group and you don't have a budget? Well, there's a line for that. It's the new and unfunded budget. So it's the new and unfunded line, but it's basically your first budget. So this would be for a new student group that you just became SA recognized and you're looking for your first piece of funding. So you would come to the Appropriations Committee just the same, and you go through the new and unfunded form. And you can apply for your first budget for a semester, and it can be up to $400. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly $400. It could be $50 depending on what you're doing. Maybe you're just having a pizza party, or $100, $200, but you just can't go over $400. And if you request this funding and it's approved, and then you do it for the next direct semester right afterwards, you then become eligible to apply for a full-blown budget with no limitations. Obviously, the Board of Finance would deny something if it was a crazy amount, but there is no maximum determined like there is in this situation. Sometimes this actually, you won't be a new group sometimes. Let's say you were a full-blown group and you were thriving for 3 years, but you just didn't apply for a budget 1 year, you do get de-ranked back down to a new and unfunded group. So let's say you've had a budget your freshman, your sophomore year, but you didn't apply for it junior year, you're going to have to go back to applying for just $400 a semester. Okay, so again, like I said, if you're approved for this funding 2 semesters in a row, then you are eligible for a full budget through the Board of Finance. So right now is the fall semester when I'm recording this. It's a good time. Get that new and unfunded this semester and next semester and apply for the 2021-2022 budget. Okay. And the last line is the SA sponsorship line. So this is for organizations that are SA and UAlbany recognized, but you're not eligible for an actual SA budget through the Board of Finance. So the easiest example would be fraternities and sororities. So we've had it in the past, these past 2 years, if a fraternity, sorority come through and they're asking for sponsorship funding for a certain event, obviously you can't get an SA budget, but you can get sponsored through this line. But you have to be in good standing with the university, and we will check through student activities, the office, but you will, obviously you're eligible to apply for this funding. All right, so you'll see it, student groups, on the My Involvement page. You got the 3 different forms to apply. You'll have, obviously, supplemental funding, new and unfunded, SA sponsorship. So hopefully you know by now which one applies to you. And on the form, I will have another video there for you of me showing you how to go through the form and what I'm looking for when I'll be reviewing these. But hopefully that cleared up any confusion. And again, I'm really excited that you've come to the Appropriations Committee for additional funding. Looking forward to a great academic year, given the circumstances. I think we're still going to have a good year and student groups are going to thrive. We're going to try our best to support you. So I'm always here for you if you have any questions. My email can be found in the My Involvement. My office hours can be found on the My Involvement. So please reach out. I've been doing this now. This is my 3rd term as a senator, 3rd term on the Appropriations Committee. I'm more than happy to help any group, any e-board looking for help. All right, so that's it. Oh, actually, that's not it. One more thing. Let's talk about the life of an appropriations bill, where we go from here. So I was really wrapping it up there. I forgot I put this in there. This is actually really helpful for you to understand the perspective. So you apply for the form, okay? And then it goes to me, the chair of the Appropriations Committee. And I could either approve it or deny it. If I deny it, I'll let you know why, and hopefully we can fix up the form. But if I approve it, it then goes to the Appropriations Committee, okay? There we are. And we will review it again. And you'll come in, and I'll schedule a meeting. It's on Sundays. You'll come in on Zoom, and you'll explain to us why you're looking for this funding. Okay, we will either approve, amend, or deny that request. If it's approved or amended and passed, it goes on down to the SA Senate, okay? You'll do the same thing. You'll come to Senate on a Wednesday night through Zoom, and you'll explain exactly why you want this funding. Senate will vote for you. If they deny you, you're denied, but if they pass you, it goes to the desk of the Student Association president. Now, if the president signs the bill, or if the president vetoes, but then it's overridden, it goes on down to the comptroller's office, the office of the SA comptroller, and now the comptroller will authorize your funding through your finance tab. So that's once he receives the bill, It will go on down, and your finance tab will now reflect the new funding that we have allocated to you through the My Involvement Finance tab. Student Affairs, My Involvement. All right, awesome. So that is it for the Life and Appropriations Bill. I mean it now. We're done with the presentation. Okay, cool. So thank you so much for taking the time to learn which form applies to you. Again, my virtual office door is always open. Come on in. So thank you again and have a good one. Bye-bye.